Welcome to the Moms I Know with Sheila Walsh-Dunton and Maria Anderson-Farner. Two moms on a mission to reclaim childhood and take you from surviving to thriving on your parenting journey.
You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Hi, this is Maria.
And this is Sheila.
And we want to welcome you to the Moms I Know.
We are lucky this afternoon. We have Helen Peterson with us. And I met Helen about 5 years ago when we were both doing B School for the first time. Yes, Marie Forleo's B School, which is such an amazing program, right?
Such an experience, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Helen's here, and she's going to talk today about holistic time management and so much more. So welcome, Helen.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I think time management is somewhere that really women can come back to themselves and be more present in their lives. And that's something I'm really passionate about for moms, to be there for their families, to be there for themselves.
Yeah, I think that is oftentimes moms are overwhelmed, overworked, overstressed, over it.
And over it, seriously over it. I'm over it, I need a nap. And sometimes that's what you should do, take a nap.
Exactly, definitely. I'm a big fan of the afternoon nap.
Me too. I guess the most common question I get is, what is holistic time management? Yeah. And I would start by saying, so most of us have kind of an idea of what time management is, right? It's using your time effectively. But time management, the way we think of it, came out of a business, came out of corporate America in the 1950s. And so it was used for managers to make their workers, the worker bee, produce more, be more profitable. And then we had women, of course, through the years coming more into the workforce, and we're piling more and more on their plates, right? You get more, you get extra. And they're coming home and they're trying to manage their time at home. They're trying to figure out how to do these things at home. And so they're using some of these techniques. And I love a lot of them. I use a lot of them with my clients, like calendaring. That's kind of a basic thing that's helpful all the way. But business techniques don't work at home as much, because in business, there's a deadline. You're done at some point, right? You're done with that project. With my child, there is no done. We're never moving on. We might move on from a certain phase of childhood, but we're not done. There's not like, okay, let's rest and then go tackle the next project. And so we've created this kind of burnout because we think we can do all of it. We can do more, we can do more, we can do more. And so we're having a lot of mommy burnout. And you see that in a lot of women having body breakdowns. Autoimmune issues are coming up. Stress and anxiety are like off the charts right now. And you see it even in like the low level, what I call zombie mode, right? We're going through our life. We're kind of schlepping through, but not really being present, not being engaged, not connecting with our community or even our family. You know, we're sitting at the dinner table, if we're lucky enough to get around the table together, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, I should have gotten this done. I didn't do that. Okay, well, tomorrow I can do this. And then I have to run the kid here, and then I have that. And we're going through the list instead of engaging with our family. And it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because I think often what we see also is the self-medication. We're seeing it's kind of a trendy thing, the mommy's wine glass, how many pictures on Instagram do we see the mommy's wine glass? Like, you kind of numbing ourselves, as well as the disconnect. I see it in myself sometimes when I'm on my phone. It's after dinner. I've done all the dinner stuff for all day, and I get on my phone just to look at some Instagram, right. But in doing so, I'm not paying attention.
Right. You're checking out.
I'm checking out, exactly.
And we need times to check out. And that is very trendy right now too, right? Not just the wine pictures, but the self-care.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, in my opinion, a lot of the self-care is tending towards the wine, tending towards, let me buy myself something pretty to fill this void. But that's not going to do it.
Exactly.
I'm still going to be stressed out tomorrow morning and probably have a hangover or, whatever it is. And so if you're trying to look at how to fix the problem, I think you go back to the foundations. And the foundations are, for me, how are you spending your time? How we spend our time daily is how we are living our life. That is how we are living our life. It's not, I'm going to get there someday. Someday I'm going to do this. Someday I'm going to be able to be more present with my child. But right now I got to get this done. Right now I got to do the dishes because that's somehow very important. But I'm going to do this so that my house is presentable because that's what my kid needs, or whatever the thing is. So if you take the step all the way back, and look at how we're spending our time, and probably even farther back, a lot of my clients of how do you want to spend your time? What do you want your life to feel like? What do you want your children's life to feel like? Do you want it to feel like one big crazy rush of driving from play date to soccer game to basketball, all the things that they want to do and they enjoy and we want for them too? How does that feel to them? How do you want it to feel? And so once you get your priorities there, then you can start looking at how you're spending your time as a completeness, as a wholeness. So the end is not that you're more productive, that you're producing more, that you're making more profit for somebody else, but that you are fully engaged and present in each moment, whether it's with your community or with your family.
Oh, I love this. This is so exactly what, I've been needing to hear right now too. But this whole idea, you're talking about basically this family culture, family values. What is it that we want to create for our family? And I was just talking with a group of women recently, and that was a surprising and new concept to them. Oh, I can actually think about this ahead of time. I can talk with my spouse about this. I can talk with my community about what are the things that we want to bring. So I love that you're talking about this today. It's very timely.
Thank you. I had this wonderful moment in this wonderful place on a beach, talking to one of the women who we've known each other now for 10 years. She was in my mom's group. So our babies were babies, like months old when we met, and we still get to connect, and she's wonderful and amazing, as all of them are. And we were talking about what we're doing with our lives. How are we feeling about our lives? And she is a photographer and wanted to spend more time doing that, but turned to me and said, I can't do that, but what would you do with your life if you didn't feel a crippling sense of duty? And that just hit my heart. And I took that with me and I molded over. And I think that particularly for moms, that's how we go through life, right? We feel that crippling sense of duty of I must do this thing, whatever the thing is, or I must get this done, as opposed to, you know what? It's really important for mom to enjoy life too. It's really, really important for kids to see mom enjoying life and for mom to be enjoying her kids. That is actually not duty, but that is something that should be happening. That is key.
It's a mindset, and that's what you're working on. You help moms. But it's changing that mindset. I really think that's key. And I had an experience over the weekend. I was camping this weekend and with some old college friends. And I had one friend say, so what do you do for fun with your family? And my kids are getting to be teenagers and we're spending less of it together. Right. But it's just like, wait, what do I do? Right. And it really made me think. And he said, I'm sorry if I put you on the spot. And I was just like, well, it's I have these duties. I'm working on the mom map, and these things are very passionate about. But one piece of me that I'm very passionate about is hiking and being outdoors and being out and being in the ocean and doing those things. But I don't spend that energy on it because I feel I don't have the time.
I don't have the time. And how many times has a mom told you? How many times the moms tell you, I would meditate, I would do yoga, I would get back out and do my painting, I would go do these other things that fill me up, that fill my cup up so that I can show up as a better human in the world. But I'm really busy. I'm so busy, I don't have time. And so we do, like I said, I work with some of the traditional time management techniques. Like, let's figure out how to get stuff in your day. And then also, let's cut away a lot of this other stuff that's not serving. Sometimes it's stories that no longer serve us. Sometimes, like, I don't have time. Maybe you do. Let's find it. Or sometimes it's things that you've just been doing because you've always done it and you don't need to do it anymore. It's time to let that go. So I do that. And then, yes, I work a lot with mindset.
I like that. One thing that's helped me is instead of the have tos, I have to do this. I get to.
I get to.
I like that little shift, right? You know, I get to go pick up my daughter from school.
Right? I get to spend time with her and find out how her day was today and find out of the nuances of the soccer game. My kiddo is 9 and every recess they play soccer. So who was team captain and all those things. And I get to be present in that moment with her as opposed to worrying like, did I return that email? You know, I don't want to be going through life that way.
I got to ask Helen, how did you come to this, this wisdom? Because it definitely is wisdom, to share with moms, because obviously I'm sitting right here and I'm like, I'm needing it.
I came to this, a very long journey. So I've always been obsessed, I guess, with time and that sort of thing and productivity. I've always been that way since high school. So I read and researched and studied that sort of thing for the last 25 years.
Wow.
Because that's my geekiness. That's what I nerd out on. Like I said, when I got to college, I ran the Women's Center. I finished my last semester of college taking 24 units and running the Women's Center. Like, I wanted to do a lot with my life. I want to do things. But that also makes a person tired and burnt out. So I used it in my life. I used it in my work. Everything's going along swimmingly. I can pile more and more on. And then I have a daughter and everything is different because I no longer care of whether or not I can return the email because I just want to look at her little face, right? Those first few days, you're like, that's all I want to do is be with this creature, this amazing creature. And I got to experience life with her, and I was very lucky. I was a stay-at-home mom for the first 18 months. And then when my daughter was 18 months old, my mother suffered an aneurysm, a subcranial brain hemorrhage. And she was hiking. She was a very active woman up in Chico and in the Sierras. And she was flown to Chico and then flown to UCSF, and she had a craniotomy. And she's alive and well and kicking and wonderful, but it completely changed the dynamic of our family and the time requirements of me, because now I have an 18-month-old and I have a mother who I'm very close to, and I've always been very close to, who I'm now caretaking for as well. And dad's trying to run the family business. Mom has to step out. I'm taking up slack at work, at the office for mom. I'm, trying to do all of these things. And I had one of those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I am so overwhelmed. I cannot even deal with myself. And it took a couple of days, and I kind of went through the process of what I do with other people, of like writing everything down that needed to be done and looking at that list. And you know what? Some of this can be delegated. Some of this is not my responsibility. Some of this is really important. Being with my mother is really important. Being with my daughter is really important. Those are the things that are my priorities. And taking that time to assess my priorities, I guess maybe is what gave me the wisdom that you say. But it's that moment of reflection and that moment of assessment that I think is so key and needed. And it's often the thing that we don't do because we're piling on and we're going.
Assessment and reflection.
And even when we're resting after a day of going, we're usually not assessing. We're usually assessing in a negative way. I didn't do. I should have done. Instead of, wow, these are the things that I'm really happy that I got done today. This is what I did today that I'm really proud of. This is what I did today for fun. And if you don't have anything to write down about what you did for fun that day, and you notice that a couple of days in a row, it's time to really reevaluate, because fun is part of life too.
Joy,
Joy.
right.
You must have joy.
Yeah, we've talked about the gratitude list, the joy list, and that's a type of assessment and reflection.
Yes.
So.
I'm really glad you brought that up too. One of my practices is at the end of the day. It's something that I learned from Tiffany Peterson, who's a coach, and she talked about it's the mirror exercise where you look at yourself in the mirror and basically tell yourself all the things that you did that you got accomplished that day. And then there's that moment of appreciation and reflection. And then also we say, I love you to yourself in the mirror, and it feels really funny at first, but just that shift from the list of what I didn't get done to what I did. And I've, say to mom sometimes, if you got a shower in, if you played with your children, if people got fed, those are huge successes. And so to celebrate those, so I really appreciate the fact that you're really deepening this, helping women look at that and celebrate it. And also to have that fun. It's so important. And children are all about fun and play. And so we can learn from them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We have to learn from our kids. I mean, they're the best little teachers. They will mirror you, right? So if you start being stressed out and full of anxiety, then your little ones are going to be full of anxiety and stressed out about things that they don't necessarily need to worry about because they really don't care about whether or not the email got done. But all of a sudden you have this energy that they're around and they're taking it on. So if you can just learn from them and see that they're like, playing or running or climbing a tree, you've got to make space for that in your life too. You don't hit 18 and be like, all right, no more tree climbing, no more surfing, no more fun.
Right.
No.
So let's get practical. How do you do it when you had, say, I know your daughter now is like 9, right?
She's 9
years old.
Yeah.
So what did you do when she was, say, the 3 or 4 years old, and that you have that list to do? You're starting a business. You're running a business. You have, so what did you do during that time?
I asked for help from certain
okay,
people.
That's huge. That's huge. Big. Okay, yeah.
That is huge. I had people help watch her. And like I said, I had a wonderful mom's group. And so there were women in there that I could be like, hey, can you watch her for half an hour? I got to do this. Or even if it wasn't fun things, hey, do you mind if I drop her off really quick? I'm taking mom to the hospital. I don't know how long it will be. So having backup, having a tribe, having that is huge. And then I cull and curate my life a lot of like, what do I want in my life? And sometimes that means that there are things that I'm going to get rid of and they're going to go away for right now, or maybe they're going to go away forever, but that's okay because my priority is this other thing. And I use planners religiously. And I take time every Sunday and I set up my entire week that's coming at me. And that does not mean that there won't be surprises in that week, because there will be. But I know that the rest of the stuff will get done. And that includes like looking at, so right now she's in basketball, a very practical thing. So she's in basketball and I'm looking at what days games are and what days practices are and then what times those are, which means food has to happen at a different time. So I have to make sure that I'm planning to feed her before that and thinking it through all the way back so that it's not, oh my gosh, we've got to leave for the game and you haven't eaten, right? Not catching you off guard. So thinking things through ahead of time is key.
Right. And one thing that came out is being specific.
Being very specific.
I think that's a huge thing that we don't put enough attention to. But being specific really helps you in planning, but also in what do you want? What do you want to attain? I know when I have specific goals, I meet those goals. Right. When it's not clear to me, it's not clear to the universe.
Because you're just going to somehow get it done.
Right, exactly.
It's going to somehow happen. Next week is going to somehow happen too. And for a lot of us, right, zombie mode, it does somehow happen. But is it the way that we want it to happen? Are we showing up the way we want to show up?
Exactly.
And also when you're working with a mom and she's just hit the wall. She's, I can't do this anymore. I can't handle this. I've got all of these priorities. Say she works part-time. I'm just going to, hypothetical here. Sure. What are the steps that you lead a woman through to help her prioritize, to help her bring more joy into her life, to help her see this mindset shift that needs to happen?
So there are a couple different things. And for each person, it's really different because we're going to have to pull out of them. And depending on how in tune with themselves they are, is how long it takes to pull out of what their priorities are and what they actually want their life to look like. Because you can say that to someone, and if they haven't thought about it for 20 years, that's going to be something they need to sit with for a while. Other people are like, you know what? I want to do this thing. I know this is what I need. I need a very simple one. I need to be able to feed my family better. I need to have time to feed my family better, and I'd like to meditate. All right, great. Let's look at your schedule. And so we can start with that. I'm also a big fan of lists, like big fan of lists.
How do you know that?
I love lists. I know. So I will, at the beginning of pretty much every session with anybody, make them write a list. And it is like the list, anything on your mind list.
Okay.
So if you're writing all the things that you need to get done, and you're like, okay, I got to pick up the kid, and then I got to do the email, and then I got to do the calendar, and then I need to do laundry, and then I need to go shopping, and then I need to do this, and then oh God, the laundry. You write laundry down again. You write laundry down as many times as it comes up in your brain, because you're getting it down on paper, away from your brain, out of your brain on paper. You don't have to hold that anymore, right? That tenseness that we hold all of the shoulds and need tos, you're letting it go on the paper, and then we can deal with it. We can start attacking it. So for someone that is part-time, that's just time, has a part-time job outside of the home, as well as the full-time job inside of the home, right? Those are just times that we block out in your calendar, okay? Those are work times. You're going to be at work then, and you're going to show up present and accountable and engaged at your work as well. This isn't just like being present with your family. This is being present in your life throughout your life. And a lot of us do work outside the home, and we need to show up there and not worried about, you know what, did I send so-and-so the lunch to school today? Or was I too harsh with her this morning? You don't want to have that running through your brain. You want to be present in each moment. So you have to block out times that are taken by things. And we have to look at things realistically, because there are things that take a lot of our time.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with keeping the tabs open. And it's like you only just have one tab open on the computer, but I'm doing this job and all these different things. And it's such a, it's hard. It's a struggle,
Yes.
So I'm listening to these tools. Our listeners are listening to these tools. How do you sustain it?
So I have something for you.
Okay.
And I will email you, Maria. This is something that I use with everybody, and it's a nightly sheet that I do, a guided journaling sheet. And I'm going to just tell people what it has. So it has a little box where you can write in your gratitude for the day, what you're thankful for. It has a little box where you can write in what you did for fun today. And it has a little box where you can write in what are you proud of? My daughter does this as well. Actually.
I was going to say, it sounds very much like it'd be perfect for kids.
At a certain age. At a little bit younger, they're like, whatever.
Right.
Don't care. And then brain clearing. So that's the original list, right? The big list. And then you do it every night, which means you're not tossing and turning anymore.
Yeah, it's the brain dump. I used to have people write the list, and when people had them on healing journeys, it was the brain dump.
It's the brain dump. And then I take this the next morning and put it, if there's something in there that's stuck, like I need to make sure this is done, it's really, tweaking in my brain and making me feel uncomfortable, and I need to take care of it, I put it into my planner, into my what I need to get done list. Okay. So this is for you.
Oh, thank you. I love that. And can people find these online, right?
They are they're on Etsy right now. We're getting them on our website. So this is another mom I know that I collaborated with. She does the photography and the artwork for it.
Beautiful. Yeah. We'll definitely put a link on it in our show notes for sure.
So finding different tools that work for you. And again, they're going to work differently for different people. So I love my written in planner. My husband lives and dies by his Outlook calendar.
Exactly. Yeah. Same thing with my husband.
Right. They're different people. That's fine. We'll work with whatever tool works for you.
Right.
But finding the tools that work for you, that help you stay calm, that help you stay centered, that help you focus on what you're going to get done so that you can get the things done and have that space created in your life so that you can be engaged and start thinking about, maybe I want to do a watercolor class with my kiddo.
And what it's interesting is that when you do this, you give space to let more beauty in. I mean, I really feel like that's what you are emanating. You are really, you're showing that, and I see that just with you right beside me. It's just like I see that you're clear-minded. You're here right now.
Right.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Thank you. But yet also giving these really concrete tips and strategies to help moms, to help us organize and to help us prioritize, really.
Because life is messy, but it's also magical. It's so magical.
Right.
And if we're just cruising through with our to-do lists, we're not enjoying it. We're not stopping to see the wildflowers in super bloom or those kind of things.
Right.
So embrace it. Embrace the messy and figure out what of that matters and what if it doesn't matter. And embrace the magical and be there to experience joy. Yeah, I think so.
I love that.
You're so inspiring. And, this is what, when Sheila and I started this podcast, it was to deepen this conversation about parenting, because it's such an incredible time. And yes, it's overwhelming and exhausting. And, our children distract us and drive us to our wits' end, but they're also the most precious beings. And that if we're going to have children, if we're going to create this family life, that we want to bring this in and make sure that we are finding the joy in every moment. And, I'm getting to see it from the grandmother's perspective now. And I always joke that, yes, now I'm not sleep deprived. And so this helping moms understand that these are phases and the children change and things go so fast. And I mean, there's so many poems and songs written about how fleeting childhood is. But I feel as if you've really captured the essence of that and are helping women understand that we just need to be in the moment and enjoy it. So I really appreciate that so much. Do you have people that inspired you? You're so inspiring to me today. So do you have people that inspired you along the way?
I am inspired by pretty much everybody, honestly. I look at people in the world, I'm like, wow, look at what they're doing. But obviously my grandmother, she is no longer with us, but my grandmother was one of the first women to be a WAC, a WAAC, before the Army actually took them. She ran a company, and she ran her family that way. She was awesome. The moms in my mom's group, amazing women, all different backgrounds, all different family lives. Some are single moms, some have 3 kids, some have 1 kid. Like, they're just amazing, and they're all doing wonderful, wonderful things. So I try to look at everyone and find the thing that's going to inspire me out of that person.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like keeping it here, keeping it right here. It's just like, that's what's important. I really appreciate that.
And for me, and this is no secret, so for me, when I'm looking at my time schedule, my priority is my family, and it will always be my family. So if there's something that is either time with my daughter and husband or time with my family or this other thing, it's going to be the family. And it's not a hard call for me because I'm really clear and excited that that's my priority. I'm really happy.
Yeah, because you're specific. You said because you're clear. That's where you are right now. And I think that right there is a piece that a lot of women, moms, I think it's women. We doubt. We have a lot of doubt. We're not as, that they're.
It's hard to get to that clarity.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's childhood, right? We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but that really, a lot of it comes from childhood, not being seen. And so that's why this work that Maria and I are doing is just like, you have to treat childhood like it's the most important thing, because it is the most important thing.
Because it is, yes. Because it's the foundation of little humans, of how, and little humans are the foundation of our our world, our society.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a social major too. That's why
Right.
I started. Not that that's a surprise either at this point. But
Right.
so how we treat these little humans and how they see us treating ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Is how they're going to grow up and be in the world, and that's how the world's going to be.
Yeah.
So it is the most important thing.
Yeah. I mean, one of my mentors, Julie Bogart, one of her taglines is like, be an awesome adult.
Yes.
Be that adult that your kids want to be like when they
Right.
grow up. And it's just like, we all know when we were kids, those awesome adults.
Right. Yes.
The ones that took the time to talk to me like I was a person, not
Right.
just telling me directions of what to do and how to do it and yelling at me, but the people who saw me eye to eye. And I have sought out teachers of my kids when I was able to choose their teachers,
Right.
Such as Maria. That's one reason, Maria, we stayed in your classroom for 10 years because you held my kids accountable, you treated them with respect, and you were an awesome adult.
Yeah, awesome adult.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, but it's just like when I'm able to choose the teachers,
Right.
that's what I looked for. And now I'm not able to choose the teachers as their kids are in high school. And that builds resiliency because they're going to see there's going to be good teachers and there's going to be bad teachers.
Yeah, there will be. But you are choosing the people that are in their lives for the most part, right? Like the friends, the family, the things that you choose to do with your time. You go camping with your friends, and those people are going to teach them probably as much as they're going to learn in school as well. So you are still choosing their teachers by choosing how you're spending your time together.
Yeah, you're right.
So we always like to ask at the end of an interview about your, if you have a mantra, and I feel as if you've already been sharing so much of that, but this idea of joy, and then also, with your quote about not being able to pour from an empty cup. And so, really keeping our cups full. But I wanted to know if you wanted to add anything to that in terms of, a mantra or a way of being that you haven't already addressed.
There is one more, and it is not necessarily profound or deep, but it is one that I like. And it's, you can start a diet in the middle of a bag of potato chips, which means just because you've always done something one way doesn't mean you can't make the change like that. You can change anytime you want. So you can start a diet in the middle of a bag of potato chips.
I love it.
Fabulous.
Okay, and if our listeners want to know more about you, find you, where can we do that?
I am all over the web as Ms. Helen Peterson. So MS Helen Peterson.
.com.
On Instagram that same way, Etsy that same way, and YouTube as well.
So glad you joined us today,
I'm so
Miss
glad
Helen Peterson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, we need more of this kind of energy. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next time on The Moms I Know.
Thanks for joining us today for The Moms I Know. To learn more about Sheila and her online program, The Mom Map, visit purplebeetnutrition.com. For Maria's monthly blog and to learn more about her group programs and retreats, visit soquelessentials.com. That's SOQUEL essentials.com. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Moms I Know. Until next week, have a joyful family journey.